Folks, if you notice a little quality issue in the recording, it's because I am remote. It's got nothing to do with David. So apologies in advance. But as usual, we're super happy to have David's time. We are back for April 2025. David, how are you?
I'm doing good. Mark, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm out and about.
Yeah, and you're on the road, I take it.
Yeah, just outside Houston at a little strategy retreat, as the business likes to do from time to time.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Well, exciting times then.
Exciting times, very busy, lots going on, as you know, and it's been a busy month and lots of news has come our way. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the eGrocery sales numbers for April. And we can also do some topical stuff, however you see fit. But I'd like to dig into the top line. What's the key takeaway for April 2025, David?
Well, I think what's becoming increasingly clear is the sustaining power of subscriptions and memberships to drive the business. And, that's reflected in the top line. And again, we can talk a little bit more about that in detail, but really subscriptions are continuing to drive the business in ways that we hadn't seen in previous years.
We're certainly hearing from a lot of regional grocers who are inquiring about their own subscription programs. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to dig into a little more of the changes and fluctuations in fulfillment channel. And, a lot of regionals have put a lot of capital investment into their curbside pickup. Do you see that shrinking? Do you see a re-emphasis on third-party delivery? What do you anticipate will happen?
So, the challenge right now in the market is that we have a lot of promotional activity that is incentivizing customers to change behaviors or maybe send our way to increase the appeal primarily of delivery, right? So whether you call it a subsidy or a discount, those are in the marketplace and they are effectively increasing demand for delivery more than pickup. Now, why is that? Pickup has had the strategic and economic advantage in the past, but that has changed. And one of the main things that has changed in the last 12 months is the cost advantage. When we bring a membership or subscription in, it effectively erodes that advantage that pickup had with delivery before. If you think about it in the sense that every time you go to check out and place an order for delivery, you're no longer paying that delivery fee. Instead, you're saving that because of that membership or subscription. So the desire to save more money, especially today, can be satisfied to a large degree by that simple change. I think another element that had been an advantage of pickup that is eroding now because of delivery catching up is around the degree of control that a customer has, right? We used to say, you have a delivery window that's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours or more, and you had to wait around like it was the 1980s with the cable guy, 1 to 5, and they show up at 4:55. But now with these, continual updates with notifications, that window of uncertainty now is closing dramatically. And again, what Walmart has been doing is illustrative of that it removes that degree of uncertainty from the consumer or customer standpoint so that they have a better idea of when it's going to arrive at their home or their residence, right? So those two things of reducing the cost to serve and reducing the level of uncertainty has helped increase demand for delivery. Now, in the short term, it's all about that subscription because you don't experience that second point until you actually use it. So I don't know if I answered the question, Mark. You said, what do regionals need to do?
How should regionals rethink their curbside investment plan, if at all?
Well, I think what you just ended with is really important, which is curbside pickup is still a strategic advantage for the regionals because it plays to their proximity to the end consumer. Delivery disintermediates that. So it's we're not suggesting you walk away. or necessarily refine your pickup strategy. However, if you want to strengthen your pickup strategy, what we would encourage those retailers to do is continue to push the envelope in terms of the range of products that are available for pickup that are also in the store. Again, keeping in mind, a lot of these regionals are known for their fresh departments, and specifically things like bakery, deli, prepared meals, right? So getting those made to order sandwiches, those prepared meals can help strengthen your offer, which then immunizes you to a degree because you've essentially made it just as acceptable to shop that store via pickup as you did in person. Again, delivery, the way regionals are running delivery is still dependent in some extent, depending on which retailer we are, with third party. And I'm not talking about third party marketplaces. I'm talking about the third party distribution service support, right? The white label delivery of that delivery order to the home or residence. I think the retailers need to realize, hey, the market is shifting because of incentives and discounts that are being offered. One question is, can we offer something similar for delivery? We would pause and say, what's the benefit of doing that? Because if we move towards that, we again disintermediate some of the competitive advantages we have. We need to focus on winning with pickup and just competing with delivery, right? So if anything, it's more of a doubling down on pickup. And that may seem counterintuitive when the whole business is moving toward delivery, but keep in mind, you want to focus on what you can control and what you can manage to improve the user experience, which will improve your retention and spends and improve your profitability, right? And so they're going to have better ability to do that and leverage their capabilities against pickup simply because they own more of that value chain than with delivery.
Let's dig into one-time buyer versus repeat buyers. What we're seeing in the numbers is that more people are placing a second order within that 1 month time frame instead of stopping after just one. Is that primarily a result of subscription, or are there other tactics that the Walmarts of the world are using to nudge into a second or third purchase?
Great question. Not sure I can answer it at the global level because we haven't looked at it that way. However, I'm pleased to say, not knowing that you're going to ask that I just happened to look at it specifically for Walmart. As it relates to Walmart specifically, because again, as I mentioned, we haven't looked at this globally, is that, when we look at the most recent transactions with those households that used Walmart online, what we can see, we're going to specifically look at delivery because their Walmart Plus membership program benefits mostly delivery, and that's where I did the analysis. But what we had found is that it increased the average order value. That is, those that were members of Walmart Plus and had used delivery from Walmart most recently, they had about a 3 to 4% higher AOV on average, which doesn't seem like a lot, but their order frequency was probably 30% higher than the non-Walmart Plus member. So here you would see evidence suggesting that the membership is correlated with increased order frequency. You combine those two and you see the power of that subscription. And then keeping in mind, if we were to look at satisfaction, and we measure satisfaction in the form of the likelihood to repeat, we would see the same thing there, Mark. Walmart Plus customers compared to non-Walmart Plus customers who have used Walmart most recently for delivery are significantly more likely to repeat or express an intent to repeat within the next 30 days than the non-Walmart Plus. So, keep that in mind. And then the big whammy is the increasing penetration of Walmart Plus with delivery orders. I mean, we haven't asked this question routinely, but we started asking it recently. So when I look at February versus April on this question, what we can see is that household penetration or use of Walmart Plus connected with delivery continues to grow, and it's in the mid 80s now. While their overall base, if we included pickup and ship to home in that, around 2/3 of all of their transactions, we'd estimate, are linked to Walmart Plus. right? The orders or a huge share of the order mix tied to Walmart Plus or a membership or subscription program, again, further illustrates that when you then take that in consideration with improved outcomes in terms of satisfaction, spend, and order frequency. So really a winning formula. And again, subscriptions and memberships have been here for more than a year, as you know, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What really happened in mid 24 was turning on these aggressive discounts. Now, let's keep in mind, we had free trial periods before, right? 30-day, 1 month free trial of the membership, cancel anytime. The difference was in the approach of promoting it. They actually moved to a deep discount on the annual plan. And while that may seem counterintuitive, psychologically, it was a boom. And so, we took part in that as well.
So in that shift from trial to habit, are regional grocers overspending on promotions that don't necessarily move the needle or are hurting repeat purchase behavior?
Oh, that's a great question, Mark. I'm going to think for a second. Let me pause. There are all these discounts to get someone in.
Right.
And right. That's what the trial is. So the digital deals aren't the issue, but it's once you got them to try. Right.
So
that attracts them. That drives trial. And what converts that is making it accept. So I'm going to my 3A's growth framework and then going to acceptability, because see, that's where you got to move, because then that first experience has to reinforce that they made a good choice, right? And that it's considered an acceptable alternative. Now, what's acceptable? Acceptable is that it either saved me time, it saved me money, right? It was more convenient. And those are the basics, right? So I don't want to overcomplicate it.
I guess do you think regionals are focusing their media buys, their spends on the right programs? If they're continuing to do the same to get customers in, so it's an acquisition as opposed to a retention strategy. And I would say that a subscription or membership program is clearly focused on retention.
You're absolutely right, Mark. We would say historically, subscription and memberships had been viewed as primarily a retention or engagement tool. That being, it was targeting or would appeal to the regular customer more likely than a new customer, because the new customer had no awareness, no familiarity with the service, right? But what happened about 12 months ago kind of flipped that script. Mm-hmm. And it primarily played for Walmart because of their low price position. And what I mean by that is it actually has demonstrated that it can attract new customers. Now, this may be unique to Walmart. And in this case, and again, this warrants further analysis on our part, which we will do, is looking at those people who order online from Walmart and then looking at whether Walmart is considered their primary store or not, mm-hmm. right? What we've heard anecdotally in our household personally would be evidence of this is that Walmart has attracted new customers to their business primarily through delivery, meaning these are households that weren't shopping with Walmart before, but now are. Now, why is that? Well, delivery expands their market coverage, and those households may now see this as a more acceptable option because, like in my case, I don't have to now drive 5 miles or 15 minutes one way and 15 minutes back plus any other time at the store to do my shopping, right? That's really good. I think from a regional standpoint, one of the biggest challenges regionals have is about related to awareness for the first party service. And this is one reason why many regionals still today, when we look at sales mix or order mix, skew towards third party, right? Primarily the marketplaces. We've wondered about that for years and have come to realize it's, a function of awareness, which is, advertising, the lack of advertising off site. and potentially to non-customers. How do you reach them? Well, it may be looking at buying, media coverage on streaming video or cable.
I think this, and you're onto something here, and this is, dovetails with a question I think I asked previously. Walmart customers, first households, put it that way, are more digital. Are they more digital? They're digitally engaged because Walmart's done a better job of spending promotional dollars on educating that customer base about the options they have to buy online.
It's a great point, Mark. And it goes back to now and what's your omni-channel strategy, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking primarily about online because we're talking about delivery, pickup, and ship to home. But we can never forget the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the store. In-store still represents, the majority of the business, 85%? And that's not going to change dramatically, right? It's going to evolve. So what Walmart had done, now they were not the leader. They were a fast follower compared to someone like Target. They unified their apps. If you remember, they had different apps because the assumption someone had made in the executive team was, they're different occasions, different trip uses. So let's do that. But they unified it smartly to improve the value and utility of that app for everyone. And by doing that, more of their customers downloaded the app because even if they weren't shopping online, they could use it in store. Now, they're only getting faster and coming up the curve on the in-store piece. They're still trailing, but they're catching up real fast. And as that happens, more people download, use the app, which means they now will have a direct kind of line of communication to consumers. And if they're not shopping online or if they're not a Walmart Plus, they're going to be pummeled with promotional offers to upsell them into the membership, right? And take advantage of all these benefits. And frankly, Walmart's value proposition is extremely sticky, even compared against the Amazon Prime, right? On the price point for the value. So, what the regionals need to also keep in mind is, hey, look, don't get distracted by just simply focusing online. Look right. And remember, that if we can direct some of our energy of the mobile application towards improving the shopping experience for our in-store shoppers, we may see a knockoff effect that helps us actually onboard some of our existing customers online as opposed to them going somewhere else, right? I think that's a fairly large shift. It's not inconsequential. It takes time. Walmart started doing it long ago, and it's paying the dividends. So clearly, it's a strategy worth imitating. After all, Walmart essentially imitated what Target was doing. So for all the negatives that Target has that they're facing today, they deserve some credit for really being a leader, at least in this regard, from a strategic perspective.
Yeah. Great analysis, great synthesis. Appreciate you answering those questions today, David. Till next time, David, let folks know how they can get in touch with you.
Well, they can reach me at david.bishop@brickmeetsclick.com.
Yeah. And to our audience, keep watching, subscribe, so you make sure that you get future episodes of this interview series. David, thanks again, and we'll talk next time.
Thank you, Mark. Have a great day.